name is Chris, and I am the Algo Man here on TikTok. And today, guys, today's recap of the NASDAQ 100 futures, what we're going to do is we're going to slow it down, and we're going to do something a little different. One of our viewers asked for a breakdown of how the 10-minute and the 5-minute charts work together. And that's exactly what we're going to do, because let's face it, if you don't understand how time frames interact, you're flying blind. So here's the plan. Here's what we're going to do, guys. What we're going to do is we're going to use a 10-minute chart like a map. That's your compass. It tells you where larger structural moves in the market is flowing. And we're going to let CYMO Pro guide us through those key directional shifts. That's your sort of bird's eye view of market structure. No guessing, guys, just clarity. Then we're going to drop to the 5-minute chart. Now, why? Because this is where you spot cyclic structure within those 10-minute swings. This is where you start looking for potential setups. Not entries yet, but setups that say, hey, something is forming here. Now, we're not trickling down to the 1-minute chart in today's session because this is really meant to be a focused workshop on just the 10 and the 5, but you already know the process. Once the 5 gives you the green light, you go down to the 1 and you execute using predict mode. Now, so let's go ahead and get this bad boy started, shall we, guys? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. At 15 times the speed of the market, we'll just let this bad boy run right here and see what happens. First bar of the day, we're looking at the 10-minute chart for structure. That's the whole purpose of this chart, guys, okay? And we're going to let this bad boy just run. Just now that we have bar number 2 here in the day, what do we see here with CYMO? We see a couple of things, guys. First, we see that cycle is moving up. This told you before the market even opened the previous day that price was going to pop. Okay, why? Because cycle was above 0 right here, and you got to pop. Very simple. Momentum's above the 0 line, which means that there is a bias to the upside in the market, guys. But look what's happening with volatility, okay? Volatility is getting very, very frothy up here, okay? We've seen these type of spikes time and again in the early session in the mornings, okay? And if volatility is really, really high, guys, chances are the move is running out of gas. This is one of those reasons why you don't want to jump in those early bars, because if they do run out of gas, you are going to be in a heap of trouble, guys, when the market doesn't really move in your desired direction. So we'll just let this kind of shake out a little bit right here and see how it plays out. Momentum is rising. Cycle is rising right here on both on CYMO. So let's see how this shakes out before we decide to take any trades over on the 5-minute time frame. All right, guys? So now that I understand, okay, and I kind of have a very good understanding of which way the market's going, and it's kind of floating up right now, and it's floating up on just about almost normal volatility. Normal volatility is set to 1. Right now it's at 0.71, so it's doing what the market's supposed to do here. And now you got a little bit of low volatility right here, a little bit of a low volatility environment, but that doesn't mean anything, guys. The market is just still moving up, and it's not going to change directions until you actually get across with CYMO below the 0 line. That's the cyan line. That's what I'm looking at, below 0. Okay, until then, the market still has potential to move. So if I'm looking at this here going, man, I really want to take a trade, and I know that the market is moving up, well, let's see what the 5-minute is telling us as far as where structure is evolving, okay? Let me just bring this bad boy up right here, and here we go. This is the 5-minute chart, okay? Let me stop it for a second. This is what you just saw. You saw cycle go up, and it ended right here. Look at how perfect this was, guys, okay? The end of the session, this is yesterday before the market closed at 15:55, right here, okay? I can't make this stuff up, guys, because you're seeing it right here on the chart, okay? Cycle crosses above 0 right there, okay? And if cycle is crossing above 0, you're getting at 1600 right there. Momentum is also rising. Where do you think price is going to go when the market opens? It's going to go up. Okay, plain and simple, guys. And look, that's exactly what happens when cycle swings all the way up and it ends right here. The moment it crosses below the 0 line right there, that's exactly at that bar, guys. That is the end of the cyclic swing to the upside, okay? Then, you got a little bit of consolidation that happens right there. Momentum is still above the 0 line, and cycle is going up, okay? Now, remember what the 10-minute chart is telling us, guys. The 10-minute chart is telling us that price is going up, okay? So if price is still rolling up on the 10-minute chart, and I'm looking at the 5-minute chart for direction, what do I want to do? You can type it up in the comments, guys. What do I want CYMO to show me? Anybody have a guess, okay? Well, I'll tell you, guys. If you can't type fast enough, I'll go ahead and tell you right here. Look, what you want is you want cycle to go above 0 right there. Because if price, exactly, J Momentum got it right there. Exactly, and Samba Barbie got it too. You want it to go above 0, guys, because if on the 10-minute, you know that price is still floating up and you haven't had a cross to the downside with CYMO, with the cyan line on the 10, you know that price is still going up. So this is the cyclic rotation of price that you're looking to see right here. You want this to cross above the 0 line right there, this cyan line right there, okay? Now, look at what's happening right here as well. You had a nice pop in volatility, and then all of a sudden it came down right here, guys. Look at this, okay? Just right there. This is nothing but consolidation. This is nothing but noise. But now volatility is starting to go back up again, which is nice, and it would make for a nice trade to the upside once this goes up. So let's go ahead and see how this plays out. Okay, we're still waiting for this bad boy to cross above the 0 line. Right there.
Order filled.
So that's the trade that you take. You got a nice little crossing with volatility here as well. And this is a nice trade that's accompanied by rising volatility as well. And this looks to me, guys, like it just became a pivot trade on the 5. And you know my sentiment on a pivot trade, okay? Pivot trades are going to be very short-lived, which means at the moment that cycle and momentum cross, that's going to be the end of that move to the upside. There's not going to be anything else. Nothing. Okay? So you're watching for the crossing right here of these two. Once they kiss goodbye, you're done. Right there. You see the crossing?
Order filled.
That's where I want to pop out of the trade, guys. That's where the trade ends. This ended up being a pivot trade to the upside, and pivot trades are very short-lived, okay? And, okay, let me stop it here. How do we know that this is a pivot trade, guys? Because momentum didn't continue its trajectory. Momentum pivoted up right here at this center region, okay? You had cycle going up really nice, momentum coming down, but instead of momentum crossing below 0, it pivoted up. So these pivot trades are very short-lived in nature, guys. You want to get off the moment they kiss goodbye right there, okay? So here we go. We just got out of this trade. We want to see what's happening over on the 10-minute time frame. So let's go ahead and bring the 10-minute down right here and see what's going on. You finally got a crossing right there. Yes, you got a crossing to the downside, but look what's happening with momentum, okay? So when you see this combination on the 10-minute time frame, what is it telling you? This is telling you that you're going to have a move to the downside. That's what that's telling you, but not yet, okay? Why not yet? Because momentum is still, it's probably overshooting, okay? A little bit too elevated, guys, right there, all right? And the last thing I want to do is have momentum become the dominant signal and continue to pull price up while I think that, hey, this might be the beginning of a short. So if momentum is all the way up here, guys, it's just a little bit too strong of an overshoot for me to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to take this to the short side. So you got to be a little bit more patient and wait, okay? So let's go ahead and see what happens right here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and switch it up a little bit, okay, to see what happens here on the 5-minute chart as the trade develops on the 10, and then I'll kind of flip back. So right there, if you notice on the 5, guys, right when I put the red arrow, momentum is still quite elevated, guys. I mean, you know, when you look at that, you know, you don't want to say, hey, you know what? I want to take a trade to the short side right here because momentum is still quite high on the 5. We saw that on the 10. We're seeing it here on the 5. You're kind of in a, it's not, I wouldn't say a low vol environment right there right now, but still. Okay, now you see momentum falling right there, okay? So here's a decision-making process that a lot of traders are going to struggle with because they're going to get FOMO. They're going to think, hey, you know what? This is probably a good time to enter the trade right here. Momentum is falling. Cycle went down. You're kind of in a lower volatility environment right here, okay? There is no change in the 10-minute, guys. Mo is still high, guys, above 0.90, all right? It's still high. So when you look at this, you know, you can say to yourself, man, you know what? This could really pull price back up if cycle comes around that way, right? So there's a couple of things that you can do here. You can wait for momentum to fall and start coming down before you execute the trade over there on the 5-minute, or you can wait to see you can wait to see volatility actually rise to the point where it might make sense to take the trade. So, or you might want to wait for momentum to hit the 0 line right here, okay? So there's a couple of different things that you have to decide on as a trader, but let's see what happens if we continue this. Is momentum going to continue falling? Okay, you're looking at this, you're like, holy moly, what's going to happen here? You know, momentum is above 0 right there. Cycle is below 0. You're right here at the base VWAP. What's going to happen? Okay, and momentum fell. That's what happened. But still no cigar, okay? Just be patient with the trade, let it evolve. And this is just a lot of noise right here, guys. This is just a little area of consolidation where really nothing is happening. This is just noise in the process of the move, okay? Okay, so right here, this might be a very good entry, guys, when you got momentum just falling, cycle below 0 right there. Momentum on the 10-minute is slightly, barely beginning its descent, okay? you're still in a low vol environment, okay? So this move might be a little bit soft, okay? So here's the question for you guys, okay? You're looking at this on your screen. What would give you confidence to take this trade right now? Would you wait? Would you take it because momentum is falling? Or would you want to see a spike in volatility, maybe above the blue line right there? Or would you want to wait for confirmation on the 10, okay? How would you guys approach this? You know, just drop them in the comment box right here. I want to see how you guys are looking at this to ensure that you guys are understanding what's happening right here. This is a moment of decision. You're sitting here in front of your computer, guys, and I'm going to read the comments right now. Okay, Mohammed says he'll wait for the spike in volatility. So I got one viewer who said he would wait for the spike in volatility right here before executing the trade. So Silent Noise says he'd wait for the 10 minutes. Been doing well for you? Okay, good. Okay, so I got two different perspectives here. I got someone who says they'd wait for the 10-minute, and that's for the crossing of momentum to the downside to take the trade. I got someone else who's telling me that, hey, you know, I'll wait for the spike in volatility. Can you show the 10? Yeah, sure. I'll show the 10 right here. Okay, here's the 10-minute chart right there. You're kind of in a really low area of volatility on the 10 right there, and momentum hasn't really fully come down from the top. You see that? Cycle is still below zero, which is fantastic. Okay, so you know that price is hopefully going to be going down, right? Okay. So Silent Noise says he would wait for the tilt to come outside of the 10 right there. Okay. So let's go ahead and play that right there because we have about 5. It'll go pretty quick right here to see if we get the tilt below that. Okay. So Sam Barbie says she'd wait for the 10 as well. Okay. Got a few more seconds right there and boom, right there, guys. So there you got the tilt. Cycle's going down. Momentum is going down. Wow, guys, check this out. I mean, I'm telling you, man, this is awesome. Look at this. Momentum's coming down, okay? You've got cycle, you just turned down as well right there, but you also got a flip in volatility, and this is on the 10 right there, guys. That's pretty powerful, okay? Let's see how this looks like on the 5, all right? So if we go back over here to the 5, wow, look at this, okay? Now we really have a nice, clean move to the downside, and we have a nice little increase in volatility right here, okay? So this is really, really good. You know, it seems to me that price is going to go down right here. Let's go ahead and see if we actually took a trade to the short side, what would happen, okay? Wow, and you just got the tilt and volatility right here as well. It's telling you that, yes, volatility increased, and not only that, guys, but check this out. You have momentum that also sunk. It's right there going down below the threshold, okay? So if it's going down below the threshold right there where you see it, now you can begin counting your cycles, okay? Did I go long or did I go short? Did I go long?
Order filled.
I probably did, guys. Sorry, I hit the wrong button.
Order
that
filled.
could happen sometimes. I thought I hit the sell button. I hit the long button. Oh, boy. Yep. It was a buy right there. Happens, guys. You got to watch those buttons. Definitely watch the buttons. I thought I had hit the sell button. Sorry. Got out with a little scratch on that one from 006 to 002, so it wasn't too bad. Thanks for pointing that out, man. And there we go, guys. So now that momentum is below the threshold right here, you can begin counting your cycles. This would be cycle number 1 right here, okay? Began right here, ended right here, guys, okay? Let me just go ahead and put the little arrow right there. Cycle 1 ends right there. This is the beginning of the confirmation of a trend to the downside right here, okay? So if that's the trend to the downside, we can expect a second cycle here, okay? Slippage got me also on this trade right here. It got me, a fill all the way down here. So you wait for cycle number 2. That's what we're waiting for on this. Here it is right here, guys. Bingo, right there. And we're going to take this all the way until the end of cycle number 2. And let me just kind of bring down the 10-minute chart. Well, I'll bring it down in just a second. Let me just get out of this. And we're going to exit the trade at the end of cycle number 2 to this downside move. Wow, that's insane, guys. That is an insane move. And volatility is picking up right here again on this really strong candle. The moment we actually cross above the 0 line right there, I'm going to exit the trade and we will be completely done. So we wait for this bad boy to cross. Let me make sure I got the right button this time. That's a massive move. Now, if you guys want to see something really, really, really cool, okay, the 10-minute over here is telling you that price is likely to go up right there, okay? It's telling you that, look, something's about to happen right here. You got the nice volatility spike that told you that this is really going to be the end of this move to the downside right there. And you could have flagged that real clearly on the 10-minute time frame right there. But over here on the 5-minute, you're looking at cycle, ending cycle number 2. which is the end of the rotation to the downside. Whenever price goes into a trend, the way it did right here, there's typically 2 cycles in the rotation, guys. Now, what happens after a sell-off like this, okay? What happens? After a sell-off like this, you're going to get some type of short covering, all right? And if you get some type of short covering, you can expect a cyclic move to the upside, all right? So we're looking at the 5-minute again. Let me go ahead and play this bad boy right here. What I want to see to take this cyclic move to the upside is I want to see at least momentum pivot up above the threshold right here. And if it does, then that's another move to the upside that you can take right there, guys.
Order
There it
filled.
is. That's the pivot that you're looking for right there with momentum, okay, to take that trade to the upside. And that's your short covering rally that happens right there. That's where you tune down to your 1-minute chart and you start looking for your entry opportunities using Predicmo to really capture the reversal to that downside move right there, okay? And volatility is still a bit high right here, guys. So with volatility being as high as it is at 1.42 times normal volatility, you know, you're going to have some type of move in the direction of the upside right there. Let's let the whole thing shake out and see where it goes. Now, because you're capturing the cyclic component of the leg, which normally follows the trend, okay, you're going to get out of the trade whenever the cycle and momentum indicator cross and kiss goodbye, okay? That's just how it works. Remember that cycles precede trends and cycles always follow trends afterwards, okay? So we just finished the trend component of the move with cycle number 2. Now what we're looking at is the cycle component of the move right here going up, and that ends when these 2 bad boys kiss goodbye, okay? Okay, so right there, guys, you see this crossing? This is where I want to just trade off and be absolutely done with it right there. There is nothing else that I want with that trade to the upside. It was a bit choppy, but that's it. Volatility is falling. You got the crossing. You are done with the trade right there, guys.
Did you see that? That's what you call precision.
All right, got my hotkeys right. All right, guys, that's what real algorithmic trading looks like right there. And if you're part of the tribe, guys, here's your task. I really want you guys to replay today's chart using the 10-minute and 5-minute charts only. And I want you guys to identify where CYMO on the 10 gave you the structural shift, then drop into the 5 and watch for alignment and probability setups, okay? Don't go to the 1 until you've logged in the 10 and the 5 setups that matter. I want you to label it, mark it, replay it again, guys. This is how you refine your timing. This is how you train your eyes to see the market with intention instead of impulse.